Welcome to Modern Day Masterpiece. My name is Caleb. I'm joined again by my good friend Josh.
What's up? What's up, Luther?
Well, Josh, to be honest with you, I'm a little down. It's a rough time of the year. It's February. I think the movies that are coming out is a metaphor for my life at the moment because I feel pretty mediocre. And apparently everything that's coming out is pretty mediocre. We were actually supposed to go watch We've Led People Astray. We were supposed to go watch Winchester today or sometime this weekend.
But unfortunately, the weather
with weather and conflicting obligations and stuff this weekend. If you have to wait till Sunday to watch a new movie, you're not getting it out soon enough.
You're not getting the review out soon
and
enough.
Apparently we're not missing anything from what I've heard.
Jeremy Johns said we're not missing anything.
You got to go by what Jeremy Johns said. And that's a fact.
Because we look at him as a
role model.
As a role model.
But
we're
still going with the theme of horror movies this week.
So,
which I'm sure if we had seen the movie, this would have made our best horror movies of decade list. I'm sure of it. It looks very fascinating and not boring at all.
No, it has Helen Mirren.
But we're still going to talk.
It's got to be boring. Good.
We're still talking horror movies in February. So what on earth are we going to talk about in October? But that's our thing. We'll talk about
romance movies in October.
Sure, even though that's probably what we're going to do next week.
No, what we're talking about next week. We'll talk about that.
We're going
to. No. We'll save that.
We're going to have a surprise review next week that we planned on not doing. But it's good.
It makes me shiver already.
I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I bet you are.
I really am.
I bet you are. That's what's sad.
I've heard really good things.
And people have lied to you.
No.
That's beside the point. Let's move on.
So, like I said, we're sticking with the theme of horror movies today in honor of the great Winchester, the house that built
Winchester,
starring the great Helen Mirren and Jason Clarke.
But are we going to have
other people?
But are we going to have a pint and wait for the whole thing to blow over?
I hope. But
the way this weather
is, our name is Modern Day Masterpiece. We like to stick with the modern day movies, so we're gonna stick with this decade that we're in, even though this decade's not over. So this will be revised in a couple
like 3 years.
In 2 years, in 2 years, we are going to do a best 100 movies of the decade.
My God,
it's going to be
Is that going to be like a 12-part show? Maybe where it take 12 weeks to do it?
I'd say like 100 through 50 would literally just be mentions of the movies, probably.
Yeah.
And then the 50 through, yeah.
But what happens if? Never mind. We'll get to it when we get to it, I guess. But we got 3 years to work on it. So.
Yeah, sure. But what we're covering today is our favorite.
Top five.
Would you say our favorite or overall best? I think that mine. I think even though my top 5 is my favorite, I still consider them to be kind of the best.
I could see. Yeah.
I guess it just depends on who you are. I think honestly, some people
trust me. Mine's going to get like a lot of like.
Some people will look at my top 5 and be like, "This guy's an idiot." Oh my God.
Well, I mean, they might do the same for me because
horror is so objective. It's so subjective.
But unless you like jump scares,
but honestly,
I don't take your opinion seriously.
But I think if you are really, really into horror movies, you're not just a typical fan that goes to watch, like just the typical moviegoer that goes to watch movies and expects for like Annabelle 2 to scare the life out of them. Like if you're
that movie was so scary, Caleb. Let me tell you what.
If you're really into horror movies, I think you'll appreciate and respect our top 5, even though I don't know Josh's and he doesn't know mine. So
that's what makes it fun, because this is going to be like completely reactionary from all of us.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do from here on out. Even when we do movie reviews, usually we tell each other how we feel about the movie immediately after we watch it. But we're going to wait a day
and let it sink in a little bit too. Let us write our own review.
Peter Rabbit needs to be sunk in.
Yeah, that movie's going to blow our minds. Like you don't even know. Like but, it's going to be the most like forget Inside Out, forget Zootopia, and how the underlining meaning. It's going to be Peter Rabbit and about Easter.
Screw Paddington. This is Peter Rabbit we're talking about here. But we're discussing our top 5 horror films of the decade, and we want to throw out some mentions. If you want to go first, or if I want to, I got mine pulled up here.
I've already got mine pulled up.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. I'll do one, and you can do like your others, and then when you get to one, we don't have a format here. So
what is it now?
I'll do an honorable. Since I only have 2, you have like 5.
I was gonna literally mention like 7 because I think it deserves.
Okay,
7 deserves to be mentioned.
Whatever your 6 and 7 is, talk about those. Okay.
I don't really.
You have to.
We talked about them so much.
Sorry.
In the last video.
Then we won't. Then, but my first honorable mention came out in 2010, and it is a found footage movie, and it follows a disillusioned evangelical minister who, after years of performing exorcisms, decides to participate in a documentary chronicling his last exorcism while exposing the fraud of his ministry.
Movie sucks.
Movie is The Last Exorcism.
Movie's a lie. It says The Last Exorcism. There was another one, even though that's not what the title means at all.
Yes. The last 30 seconds of the film is garbage. I'll agree with that.
30 seconds? I'm thinking like 5 minutes.
No,
it's the last... From the second they turn around from that fast food restaurant and go to the woods, it is garbage.
I don't agree.
Oh,
it's the final shot of the film that takes...
It's the last 5 minutes.
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm able to overlook that with the overall flow, tone, and shock value of the film. I will not ever forgive the abomination that is The Last Exorcism Part 2. That came out 3 years later.
Never seen it.
And you don't have to. Trust me, I bared that burden for us. Movie received mostly positive reviews from critics. Got a 72 on Rotten Tomatoes, a 63 on Metacritic, a D on CinemaScore, which is atrocious, and it got $67.7 million at the box office.
That's pretty good for a movie that cost about $2, probably.
I think the budget was like 12. I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, immediately people were like, "You're an idiot for having that movie," even as an honorable mention.
I'm sorry, I love that movie.
Really
Everything before that last 30 seconds. When he turns around and hits, spoiler alert, when he turns around and hits the guy,
and Caleb Landry Jones
hits the dude, and then the camera just falls, and that's it. I hate that, but the whole demonic thing at the beginning in the forest and whatnot, love that. But
yeah, sure,
that could have been the end of the movie.
Sure.
Anyway,
moving on.
What's yours?
What are mine?
Yep.
Let me just name mine. So I'm not going to go into detail on mine.
Or would you rather me do my detailed one next? Fine, I'll do my detailed next.
Yeah, just don't make it long, though.
I'm not making it long.
You spent literally 10 minutes on The Last Exorcism.
Okay, fine. 2014, The Babadook.
Yeah.
Underlining psychological points of this movie is what gives it at least a mention on here for me, not to mention the LGBT community sees the Babadook far beyond just a simple character in cinema.
Yes.
Which is cool. Rotten Tomatoes has a 98, Metacritic an 86.
Yeah.
There is no cinema score for it.
It was a small Australian movie.
And it got $7.5 million at the box office.
If I'm not mistaken, that is the best reviewed horror movie of the decade.
Other than Get Out.
No, it's better reviewed.
Really?
It has an 86 on Metacritic. Get Out has an 84, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It has more consistent, had more 100s on Metacritic than Get Out.
Well, yeah.
It just had one or two more negative views on Rotten Tomatoes, which Rotten Tomatoes, we know, is bullcrap sometimes. Yeah. So those are your two.
I wish Rotten Tomatoes was able to algorithm someone or something.
I wish they could be like, "Hey, guy, we know that you're literally just doing this for clicks. Like, Lady Bird gave it a B-, and that's counted as a negative score." I'm like, no way. Yeah. Luckily, nobody's ruined Paddington 2's score yet. That's a good thing.
It's hard to, I guess.
It's a very good movie. But
right, your honorable mentions.
I'm literally just mentioning them. I got The Conjuring 2. It Comes at Night. It Follows.
I thought It Follows would make your top 5.
Nah,
I'm not even joking.
It hasn't held up quite as well as these other ones, but I still like it.
Of course, it hasn't. It Follows.
Under the Skin.
Don't even know what that is.
Green Room, Mother, which
classified Green Room's. Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah, Green Room is scary.
Okay,
Green Room is literally Green Room is literally scarier than all of these movies combined.
Well, maybe you know why it's scary to you because it's the personal aspect for both of us.
It's just scary, man. It's scary.
All right, sorry.
But
go ahead.
Mother, which is apparently what our last video was completely about. We talked about Mother more than anything, and Get Out is at number 6.
Okay.
So those were I have a bunch of movies listed here. I had like the Babadook at 17. And it had a bunch of other stuff that I really like Krampus and the Visit
Krampus.
Stuff. But it couldn't crack the code of the top 10 or even the top 5.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is a really moody remake.
Ooh.
Called Let Me In.
Ooh.
Because honestly, remakes don't work. They don't work.
They usually don't.
But whenever you get an amazing director like Matt Reeves, who's directed Cloverfield, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, that's 4. He's made 4. Whenever Cloverfield is your worst movie, it's like you're doing something right. Let Me In is a remake of Let the Right One In, Swedish.
But is Cloverfield though so bad that it may not be it might be his worst movie, but that movie kind of set the bar for found footage movies again. That was the first
and nothing could ever top
movie
it.
After
nothing
Blair
could
Witch.
ever top it.
But sorry,
except for Troll Hunter.
Sidebar on that.
It's a remake of Let the Right One In, Swedish. Sort of a dark borderline romance horror movie. A movie that's not based around scares, but it has disturbing elements.
I can see that.
And it has a lot of the same beats as Let the Right One In, but whenever people ask me, hey, which one do you like more? I'm like, they're equals to me, because Matt Reeves' direction, it does so many different things and adds so much to the story. While the worst thing about the movie is the CG is bad, and that's the only bad thing I have to say about it. The performances are great. Chloe Moretz, or whatever her name is. Chloe Tourette's syndrome, whatever her name is. Richard Jenkins is in it. He's.
You notice Richard? Name me a bad movie. Like, name me a bad role.
Step Brothers. He's good in that movie.
But he's good in that movie. Richard Jenkins is just amazing.
I'm sure I could name some, but he's usually amazing. He's amazing at character actor, and he's Chloe's guardian in quotations.
Yeah, quotations.
When you find out other things, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's one of those movies. It's a vampire movie that doesn't follow a lot of the same trappings that you get in usual vampire movies. Yeah. It's sort of a coming of age movie. It shows it's about a 13-year-old girl, and she's a 13-year-old girl for forever, but she's actually like hundreds of years old. Yeah. And it's tragic. Like the little boy, how the boy and Chloe sort of fall in love. You can see Richard Jenkins. You can see Richard Jenkins is like I don't want this to happen, but I can't stop this from happening. I can't stop this from happening because I'm getting old. Look at me, I'm getting old. I'm an old man. And it's just a really dark, depressing, but really beautiful. Depressing. It's really beautiful. It has one of the best scenes I've seen in a movie ever, and that's whenever Richard Jenkins, he'd go and steal people in the night to bring them to feed blood to the girl, and it goes wrong inside that car, and it's playing "Burning for You" by Booster Cult, and it shows us a shot from the back of the car, and it shows a car crash happen, and the car flips and flips and flips, and while it's playing "Burning for You," and that's one of the best scenes I've seen in a movie in like 20 years. But yeah, that's my number 5. I love that movie. It gets forgotten, and a lot of people won't even give it a chance because it's a remake, and you should definitely give it a chance.
See, that's annoying. Like, just because a movie's a remake doesn't mean you shouldn't.
This is one of the few that's on par. Yep. It's on par with the original. Okay.
My number 5 was Get Out, so we've talked enough about it.
We haven't talked about it in this episode, though.
What needs to be said about it, though?
If somebody hadn't seen the last episode, they wouldn't know.
But you've seen Get Out. It made $255 million. Everybody that's listening to this right now has probably seen that movie.
Get Out is amazing. If you haven't seen Get Out...
It's a horror movie with racial, prejudicial undertones that bump the story. It's nominated for Best Picture. It will make lists now.
Nominated for Best Screenplay. Best Actor.
Jordan Peele did amazing at directing and writing it. It's a psychological thriller on another level. What more needs to be said?
It's a movie that's going to change horror movies, I think.
Yeah. Completely.
With its nominations.
It does. It did for horror movies in 2017 that a movie we'll talk about later did for movies in 2012.
It's not going to do that. Okay.
You don't even know what movie I'm talking about.
I know damn well what movie you're
what movie
about.
am I talking about?
There's only one movie in 2012 that came out.
You're lying.
There's only one movie the whole year that came out.
Because I have 2 on here.
Okay. So that's
actually I'm lying to you, but
that's all we'll get into with Get Out. Everybody's seen it. It's amazing.
If you haven't seen it,
if you didn't like it, if you say you didn't like it, you're probably lying just because it's hyped up. I hate whenever movies get hyped up so much to where last year it was La La Land. And this year there's so many movies that like the hype was like so real, so it was so big that people were like, whatever. And Get Out was one of them. Yeah. Lady Bird was one of them. The Shape of Water was one of them.
A lot of people will overblow movies to the point where people don't want to watch them at all, like because they think it won't live up to the hype. But there's movies like we were talking about, like Lady Bird and Get Out, Shape of Water, that do.
Yeah, they live up to it, and you're literally you build up your own hype too much to the point where it couldn't meet those expectations. Right. I'd even throw Wonder Woman in there. But let's get into my number 4, which I think is the scariest movie ever made, but it's also kind of boring. And that's called The Witch.
Oh!
The Witch.
My number 4, The Witch.
There you go.
I remember us seeing this movie in the
we're
theaters.
saving time now by...
my number 4 is actually The Witch, A New England Folktale.
Fun fact...
That's actually the full title of the movie.
Witch.
The Witch, yes.
Fun fact about The Witch, when we went to go watch The Witch, I was very pumped. I was very excited when our theater got, because this is an art film, an A24 art film. I was very excited with the hype that I've heard about it. It had very good reviews. And I went into it, I was having...
a 91
I was having allergy problems that day, and I took an allergy pill. What I didn't realize that it was Benadryl. It was a lower grade Benadryl. It didn't say Benadryl on it until I started feeling like, what's wrong with me? And I looked at the back. I was like, oh no, it's Benadryl.
What have I done?
So I was like, in the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was like, I'm not going to make it through this movie because they're speaking a language that I need subtitles. Right. I need subtitles almost in this movie. If there's one flaw in this movie is that I kind of need subtitles.
You kind of do.
Yeah.
You kind of do.
But
the thing of it is, it's set in 1630 New England.
Yeah.
But everything in the movie is perfectly pieced to that period.
I would know. I have family. I have family that lived there in that
shut
time.
Up.
But
you can look at pictures and be like, you know what?
It seems like they nailed it pretty good.
Okay.
I know. Like I said, I was really tired. But I was just so fascinated by this family and just the Stanley Kubrick-esque essence of the film.
Yeah.
It was a lot like The Shining.
It was a movie
this movie, there's literally nothing scary happening, and I feel very frightened.
Right. Well,
the dread.
The thing was, when we left the movie, we were confused as shit.
I was very confused.
And it was when we were dropping off the guy, when we were dropping off Gary, when we saw it with him, on the way home, it hit us what that movie was about.
Well, it's definitely an anti-religious.
It's religion is the complete focal point of the movie. It's the plot. It is the plot.
To the point where evil prevails, which is a little on the nose, but it's trying to get its point across a little bit.
But there's so many like WTF moments in the film that happen. The crow scene, for instance.
Listen, this movie... I've seen where some people... This is the kind of movie that scares me just because of its atmosphere. Like, out of all these movies, these top 5 movies, none of them really scare me. But there's something about The Witch that just shakes me to the core. Like, for instance, where the scene where Caleb, the son, is basically dying while praising Jesus.
Yes.
That scene...
I completely forgot about that until you just brought it up.
That scene...
My God.
I've never seen that kid in anything, but that kid, he had to have almost sold his soul to the devil to get that scene to work.
Well, I don't want to say it. Just watch it, but you know where I was going. It's... Yeah.
It's disturbing.
He has a coming to Jesus moment.
Woo! We're getting hard R here. The blue stuff.
Didn't mean it like that.
You're getting into the blue comedy.
But damn.
But yeah, The Witch. The Witch I'd consider The Witch to be sort of like a masterpiece, but it's not on the top of my list here because I'm not just going to sit around watching The Witch. I'm not going to sit around.
We've both seen it at least 3 times.
I've seen it 3 times, I think. I might have only seen it twice.
No, because you watched it in the theater. You watched it with your dad, and me, you, and Nathan watched it.
I did not watch this movie with my dad.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you watched it with your dad.
Nah. We were going to one day, and
then we've only seen it twice.
I've only seen it twice.
Because it was at
the
theater and then at home.
And I'm good for now. I get the movie, I get what it's doing, and it does a really good job at it, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful...
Baby.
That guy, man.
Baby.
That guy's voice so low.
It's so low and so...
Yeah. The third act of this movie... you know how you watch a lot of horror movies that like to build up to a crazy third act, like Mother. The third act of Mother is like crazy as balls. But the third act of The Witch, I think if you see that advertising for it, it builds that third act up.
But do you feel that compared to the rest of the movie, that the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, if you would have not used that 3, 4, 5 last minutes of stuff that's going on with the eldest daughter, would that have hurt the movie? Or would that have taken anything away from it?
If they had taken it out? I think it needed to be there completely. Do you really? I love the ending of that. I love everything.
I think it's very outlandish.
I love everything from whenever she goes to talk to Philip. I love that scene. That's an incredible scene.
I mean, it is, but
the fact it's very psychological. I love it.
But it feels like fan service.
No, it's not.
But it does. It feels like it.
You're wrong.
It feels like fan service to a genre and to the title.
Listen.
Of the film.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You're wrong. the end
for
of the
having
movie.
An opinion, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, your opinion blows right now. The ending of this movie.
How does my opinion blow?
The ending of this
Hold
movie.
on.
The ending of this movie is amazing, Josh. The ending of this. Listen, from
you
everything.
You already had a witch
from
in the
seance,
freaking beginning of the film. You didn't need anything else.
I loved it. I think it was amazing.
You didn't need nothing else. You didn't need to have 17 fucking witches at the end of the movie.
I thought that was the scariest part of the movie.
I don't think it was. I think a possessed goat was kind of more scary.
I think the ending of the movie, the way it builds up with the high choir squeals and the violins, and I just think visually it's amazing, and maybe it's not for everybody, but I love the ending. I was high off my ass on Benadryl. And I was like,
that's probably why you
loved
it.
I was like,
so
oh my
much.
god! But I watched it again with you and Nathan in here, and I was not. I was just a little high on Tylenol. No, and I was perfectly fine then, and I still love the ending. So,
but I do want to say, Rotten Tomatoes gave the movie 91, Metacritic gave it an 83, Cinema scores a C-.
Yeah,
and the box office was $40.4 million, and I'm proud to say that we both gave it $8.
I gave it that cash.
You gave it $8.
Okay,
and so did I.
Let's move on.
Number 3, Caleb.
Josh was wrong about the ending of The Witch.
Wait, no, it'd be my number 3. No, that was your number 4.
It'd be my number 3.
No,
I went first. I went first.
Fine, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just going by logic here.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
because we both had the same number. We both had the same number.
Number 3 is another 2016 movie. It's called Don't Breathe.
God bless. Well, we're gonna kill some time on this one too. Don't Breathe, my number 3.
You know, there's people that don't like. There's some people that don't like this movie.
Well, they're. You know what, Caleb? They're wrong. They're wrong.
You know, some people.
They are wrong.
I think this movie is very. It's very entertaining, but
it's smart.
Like it lives up to its title. When you're watching it in a theater, you're like, oh my god! Like I feel like I can't breathe right now because I feel like I will get found.
And the thing of it is like you feel that way, but it's not like a claustrophobic type. Don't breathe. It's not like a when we saw the movie, it was with a lot of people too.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. We had to sit in the back row.
We had to sit in the back row.
Yeah,
and the whole time you could hear a pin drop in that theater because everyone was so enthralled by the movie, and that's what makes it really, really good.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the trailer for the movie. I thought it was gonna be awful. I really did. I saw the trailer on IGN when it first came out. And I was just like,
you know, the one saving grace for me,
cringeworthy.
The saving grace for me during the trailer, I was like, you know what, this could be bad, but it has that name Fede Alvarez next to it. Director Fede Alvarez, who proved himself with that Evil Dead remake, that he can make a good directed movie.
Right.
And this was an original movie of his. So this movie is directed.
Well, not to mention the fact that Jane Levy and Stephen Lang in the movie are amazing.
They are.
They're amazing.
The thing is that you're essentially watching a bunch of characters that you don't like.
No,
and like every 10 minutes you're switching whose side you're on until it gets to a point of no return where you're like, well, I know whose side I'm on because I can't go back to that.
And the thing of it is too is that it is the one most uncomfortable scene I have seen maybe ever in a movie.
Or at least the mainstream.
The basement scene is the absolute.
Or the turkey baser scene.
That's the
that movie.
The most
apparently that specific scene, without getting into details, that's the scene that lost a lot of people. But for some reason, when I watched it, I think it enhanced the experience. I felt physically sick while that was happening. Yes. I was like, "This made the movie better for me."
and it's not that we like to see things like that.
I kind of do. I mean, if I'm gonna watch a horror movie that's screwed up, I want to see some screwed up stuff.
That's not what I mean. I'm talking like us as individuals. We're not going to sit there and be like, you know what?
You know what this movie needs?
A turkey baster scene where it tries to impregnate a woman with a turkey baster.
Yeah,
that's horror.
That's all we need. I'm not even talking about that scene. I'm talking about the scene that comes after that.
Yeah,
which is gross.
I don't want to spoil that.
Now now the turkey baster setup is horrifying.
Did you feel nauseated when you watched it?
Yeah, I was laughing, and I was like, also covered up my mouth, and I was laughing.
It was a sick nausea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But like, what really I loved about the film, and it was a cinematography thing, was the fact that when Stephen Lang's character turns the lights out, they don't use that stupid green night vision hue that everyone wants to use.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It makes me ill. It makes me motion sick. I guess it might be just a combination of the green with the movement, but they decided they chose black and white instead. And I think that kind of added to it.
It was good.
And
it was startling.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that it really made... What made it really super creepy to me was the fact when Stephen Lang's character has the pistol and he first turns it off and spins around, his eyes, where he's blind, just pierce through it. And it's so creepy. It's so creepy.
It is.
And I mean, it's
honestly,
I don't know where people got turned off.
The whole movie is good, but once you get to that first reveal, you're like, "Oh, I'm on board."
Yeah.
When you get to what's going on in the basement, immediately
there's only 4 people in the movie. Like, 5 people in the movie.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's 6, counting the dog.
I don't count the dog.
The dog is a character. Man.
I mean, but I'm saying I don't count the dog as like
that dog might be the scariest thing in that movie, man.
Oh yeah.
But
okay, so there's 6 people in the film.
If there's one flaw in the movie is that towards the very, very end, it gets kind of ridiculous. With like the amount of times you think Jane Levy's going to get free, and like something like stops her. But even that's entertaining. That's literally the only like problem I have with it. I think out of all these movies, it's the second most entertaining out of my top 5. So yeah. Well, that was your number 3?
That was my number 3 as well. Yeah.
You do your number 2 because I know we don't have the same number 2.
My number 2 is Detroit.
Josh. I mean, I'm
joking. It's not. It's not Detroit at all. But actually,
it should be number 1.
Thinking about it, well, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it should have made a list.
Detroit's scarier than all.
It's because that's an actual true story and actually happened. My number 2, and I told you you're going to get mad at this one, I believe. Okay,
it's already stupid. I already know it's stupid. I'm joking. I don't know.
What do you think it is then?
I hope it's not Evil Dead.
It's not.
Okay,
it's not
because Evil Dead's not bad. I'm just saying.
My number 2 came out in 2010.
2010?
2010.
Piranha 3D?
How'd you know?
Is it really Piranha 3D?
No! God, no! Let's see if you can figure it out by the. It's a one-word synopsis.
One synopsis?
One sentence. Sorry, one sentence. 2 scruffy pals, backwoods vacation takes a bloody turn when ignorant college students mistake them for a pair of murderous hillbillies. It totally counts. It's a horror comedy. It's Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I tried to exclude all these horror comedies.
You said that you said that it was absolutely acceptable to do it. So
I did not say that.
You totally did.
This goes against everything.
It's Tucker and Dale versus Evil, folks. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I refuse.
It's 90 minutes of your life. You'll be happy you won't be able to get back.
Does not hold up.
Bull! Bull!
I'm joking.
Make some finger sandwiches, sit back and enjoy.
It's a comedy, though.
It doesn't, but it's a horror comedy.
It really isn't. There's no horror.
It has so many horror movie tropes in it.
No, it has
so many.
It has gore, but it doesn't have any horror moments.
Bull.
It's literally
you have
a
an
comedy.
Antagonist that will not die.
It's the equivalent of horror as the way Shaun of the Dead is a horror movie.
And you know what?
If
we were doing 2000 to 2010, Shaun of the Dead would have been on the list.
Disgusted. I want Evil Dead back.
Well,
Evil Dead back.
It's Tucker and Dale versus
Where's
Evil.
Piranha
What's your
3D?
number 2?
Yeah, you're not going to speak more about Tucker?
I don't need to.
Tucker and Dale's really fun. I recommend it. For a good comedy.
It's a good horror comedy.
I'll tell you.
Horror comedy.
Okay, my number 2. Okay, what didn't get a cinema score, did it? Because it's a really small movie.
No, but it did get an 84 on Rotten Tomatoes. It has 65 on Metacritic.
65. Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh,
and it did not make its money back.
Did you know that? 60. I'm not surprised. I bet it has ultimately.
Probably, but
not in the box office. It didn't.
It was $5 million on a budget, and it only made 4.
Because that's already a cult classic.
Which is why it's included on the list
for comedy.
For a horror comedy.
Because it's not a horror movie. I specifically said horror movies.
No, but
all these movies are horrifying.
We had this discussion on Facebook.
All
you
these
said,
movies
I'm
are
trying
horrifying.
to stray away from horror comedy.
I
was
did.
like, well, I
included
one.
And I even
said I included one, and you said, oh, okay, that's okay. I guess it's okay.
Well, I thought you had the one that I had.
What was the one that you had there?
It's on my list. I haven't said it yet.
Oh, okay then. I don't want to hear it.
But it's not even a horror comedy.
It doesn't matter. You just
damn
said
good
movie.
Comedy.
Sorry. What's your number 2?
Okay. My number 2 is a movie you haven't seen. It's called Raw.
It's
called Raw.
I figured it would be.
I
figured it.
I did a video on this channel by myself called Top 5 Horror Movies of the Past Year. And I go into pretty good detail on that, but just to give a quick synopsis of it, it's about a girl who goes to veterinarian school. It's a French movie. It's a French art house film. So that's already like I've got to read, and it's pretentious. I can't watch this. But she
what? Wait, what? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, if I say it's a French art, I'll feel like, I have to read subtitles, and it's a pretentious movie. I can't watch this. I can't watch this. It's about a girl who.
That's why I don't watch Inglourious Bastards.
It's a girl who goes to veterinarian school that's never eaten meat before in her life. Her whole family are vegan. They don't eat meat, so she goes to this place, this new crazy veterinarian school, which they have crazy rituals for freshmen that they toss blood on them and they make them eat raw rabbit livers. And her first introduction to meat ever is eating a raw rabbit liver, and she eats it, and
this is a horror movie,
and it ruins her life from there on out.
That sounds pretty horrific.
She has I have to eat meat, so her and her friend,
they turn in cannibals.
Her male friend that lives next door.
Quotations under
male friend.
Male friend is in quotations since we don't have video still.
It's not her boyfriend. It's her male friend. And they go eat sandwiches and meat, and she wants to get more introduced to it. It comes down to it, she is a cannibal. She wants. There's the first scene where you realize that she likes human meat is one of the most shocking scenes I've ever seen in a movie ever. My mouth just dropped. I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
So is this a movie that I'm going to have to go watch? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's an effed up little movie, but it's also really funny, but it's not like a horror comedy like Tucker and Dale. It's just a movie that it's kind of a coming of age movie, and it's
you were the one that made me sit down and watch Tucker and Dale, so you have no one to blame but yourself.
I didn't. But
bull. I'm
pretty sure
you're a liar.
I'm pretty sure I introduced that movie to everybody.
You are a liar.
But back to Raw. This is basically a metaphor for not being exposed to your own sexuality, being.
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going.
Her family not introducing her to meat is basically a metaphor for a family shying away from telling their daughter.
Birds and the bees? Is that what you're saying?
It's basically what it's about. And whenever they get to it, it's going to be 1,000 times worse. The way, this is how people become prostitutes and how they become cannibals. It's a very relatable movie.
Okay, in other words, if you really want to know what this movie's about, you're going to have to sit down and watch it because I don't have a damn clue what Luther's talking about.
People at Cannes fainted while watching this movie.
Are you serious?
I don't know why.
like a legit thing. They fainted.
I think maybe they just had iron deficiency or something because I didn't see anything that would have...
you do get iron through meat.
Maybe I'm just so desensitized by horror films that it didn't bug me really. But there is a couple scenes... There's a couple.
It didn't come out.
There's a couple scenes where I can pinpoint. If you've never seen a horror movie before and you see those scenes, you're going to leave. You're like, I'm out. But the movie's amazing.
Done.
Love it. It's on Netflix. I think people are actually starting to watch it now. So,
all right, your number one's Cabin in the Woods. I already know that. I already know.
That's what's your number one, Josh?
My number one's Cabin in the Woods. So,
a boring list. I'm changing my list. I'm changing it.
Okay, so
since it's been ruined by this horror comedy stuff,
we're going to take a moment to talk about the Cabin in the Woods because I wrote this 3-page essay on this movie. It's not really a 3-page essay, but just backstory on this film. You know, this movie was supposed to come out on February the 5th, 2010, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know what movies came out that week? This is why I love that this movie got pushed.
No, I don't have a clue.
Got pushed 2 years down the road.
I don't have a clue.
Number one, it's wrote by Joss Whedon. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, and for anybody that doesn't know who that is,
yeah.
He wrote and directed The Avengers. He also co-wrote Toy Story.
And he did Buffy the Vampire
Slayer. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to some horror stuff.
He directed half of the Justice League.
Right. So here's what came out on February the 5th. This is why this movie would have got overshadowed. A Nicholas Sparks movie called Dear John.
That old thing.
With Channing Tatum. And Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
Also, what came out that week was From Paris with Love with John Travolta.
Oh.
But do you know?
You would have done better than
that. No. Do you know what the other movie was? That movie came in at number 3. Dear John was number 1. From Paris with Love was number 3.
Yeah.
Do you know what was number 2 that week in the box office?
But it didn't come out that week.
No.
What was
it came out 2 months before.
Oh, Avatar.
Yeah,
Avatar.
Cabin in the Woods would have never made a dime.
Well,
at all.
Well, the thing is that the studio went under. That's why it didn't get released.
Right. I'm just saying though, had it come out that week,
it would have got 6th in the box office or something.
Yeah, it might have got
maybe.
It may have got 5, maybe.
But it said they released it on Friday the 13th in April in 2012.
Yeah. But what I was talking about, though, is on top of those two films, that year, Insidious Chapter 1, Last Exorcism, Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which is awful, Paranormal Activity 2, Saw 7, Resident Evil 4, and Piranha 3D came out the same year.
So horror was not great.
So horror was not great unless you were a franchise.
Piranha 3D was good.
Yeah, Piranha 3D was good. So was Last Exorcism.
Insidious was okay.
But I'm just saying, like, it all, like, if you weren't like a franchise or getting ready to become one, you were toast. It was over.
Yeah, that's true. Even Piranha had a sequel.
Yeah, Piranha 3 Double D,
which is bad. That's a bad movie.
But I mean, so Cabin in the Woods. But I mean, go ahead.
It's sort of the end-all, be-all of horror movies. I was for sure that horror movies would not be the same after that, and I was kind of wrong because, if anything, horror movies soon after that picked up the pace.
They got a shot in the arm with Cabin in the Woods.
People were like, hey man, we need to start making better movies.
Yeah.
And these haunted house movies, they're kind of not working. Even though they still make them, I think they're starting to die.
Here's the thing. From the years, and I did a little bit of research. From the years of 2000 to 2010, most blockbuster movies that were horror movies, aside from the first Saw, Cloverfield, and the Final Destination films, okay? Most films were either vampire-related, zombie-related, or haunted house movies.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything, other than Saw, Cloverfield, and Final Destination, everything was like vampire, zombie, haunted house, or some boogeyman.
It's bad. Unless
a slasher film.
Unless you were getting like a little like an indie horror movie that went under the radar.
Yeah.
And now
but now since Cabin in the Woods has come out, look what we've got. Comes at Night. It Follows. Some of them Get Out, the movies we talked about now today, is because of Cabin in the Woods. I believe it. Yeah, I mean, like it's they're all psychological horror films, but they still are able to have those horror movie tropes.
Yeah, like Cabin in the Woods is a movie that it rides that thin line between being a full on spoof and being a really, really good horror movie and just an homage to horror movies. It never goes the route of like Scary Movie 1 or 2.
Right.
Because it's technically spoofing horror movies better than that is.
Because it's Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford.
I mean, it's just really great writing.
They are able to be comedic.
Oh yeah, they're great.
But at the same time,
everybody's
movie's
great.
Creepy. It can be creepy.
There's some creepy visual stuff in there.
Was the Aquaman, you know.
Hey, the merman.
The
merman looks kind of creepy. And the movie is really...
It's Sigourney Weaver.
The movie's really, really good. But that third act of the movie...
is balls to the wall,
is one of the best third acts of any movie I've ever seen.
It's a Puppet Master film.
So I watched that movie in theaters and you didn't get to, right?
No.
I watched it in theaters and that third act was just... No. I think there was like 7 people in the theater and I think 3 of the people understood what the movie was doing and 2 of those people was me and my dad.
Yeah. I never... Like, this is one movie that I really want to tell people to go see or see it.
Yeah.
But I never want to spoil them on what's going on.
Yeah, me neither. I've had a pretty good track record with telling people to go watch it and them coming back saying that they loved it. Yeah. There's very few times where somebody came back. Now, I have had very heated debates with people saying that this movie is like a bad movie.
And it's not.
Like I've talked
It's not.
Listen, I'll go ahead and tell you, like this is one of the... There's like 2 or 3 horror movies that I will fight you over. and this is one of them...
The Witch being the other one.
Not really. That's an art film. One of them's kind of...
We almost came to blows over Tucker and Dale.
One of them's kind of Drag Me to Hell. But more so Cabin in the Woods.
See, I was going to put Drag Me to Hell on my list, but it came out a year
ago. Came out in 2009.
So,
it would have made my list.
It would have made my list.
But Cabin in the Woods, this is one that I will try and convince you. It's like, no, you're wrong. Yeah. This movie is good. You're viewing it through the wrong eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
This is where
this movie got a C on Cinema Score, by the way.
I believe that.
It got a C. Yeah. Apparently, those people and us.
You know how this new trend of movies that are getting marketed one way and you're getting a different movie, like Mother and It Comes at Night. Yeah. And it worked to this movie's favor so much I think the audience actually preferred it. But then there was some people like, well, I just want people in the woods getting harassed by woodsmen and zombies. Like, brother, it's like, what are you talking about?
Evil Dead,
nobody wants. I did not come to this movie for that. I knew better.
Go watch Friday the 13th if you want to watch
this movie. Literally inhabits like every horror movie ever made.
Yeah,
and it doesn't do it in a cheap way. It does it smart.
No,
Like, literally, like, towards the end of that movie, you're seeing, like, shades of, like, every horror movie that came out in the past 30 years.
Yeah.
And it does it brilliantly.
A person is killed by a unicorn.
And it's amazing.
I need to say nothing else.
It is incredible.
And it is one of, like, the most gruesome deaths ever. And this guy gets stabbed by a unicorn. Folks!
And for the movie's budget, I think the CG is pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's got good practical effects. It's got good gore. So it's not just relying on the comedy. Yeah, the movie is funny, but it's not an all-out laugh fest. It's a good thriller.
And the thing of it is, it's got Chris Hemsworth in it.
It's like...
If you watch
that's
Thor
why they waited.
Ragnarok,
That's why they waited to release it. Like, we're going to wait till after Thor comes out.
Here's the thing, guys. If you have watched Thor Ragnarok and you thought Chris Hemsworth was hilarious in that movie, you're going to love Kevin Lewis.
He's not that funny in this, but he does show shades of like what we were to get from Chris Hemsworth later. Because now he's doing a bunch of comedic roles. Yeah. He was comedic.
He's doing the Crocodile Dundee.
That's not
sequel.
A movie.
It's not a movie.
No, that's just an advertisement. No, that's just a short film. They've been kidding all of us, Josh. I looked it up last night. I'm kind of sad now.
I
noticed whenever all of Margot Robbie's scenes in the trailer were all in one spot. I was like, there's something off about this.
Daggone it.
But back to Chris Hemsworth.
Why you tease us like that?
Chris Hemsworth.
That's not your fault.
I know. Chris Hemsworth is the best thing about the Vacation remake.
Crap. Sorry.
He's probably the best or second best thing about the Ghostbusters remake. Like, he's got comedic chops. And this shows the signs of that.
My God, have you seen Thor Ragnarok? Have you seen it?
He's very funny in that. He's
hilarious.
He's probably the third funniest thing about that movie too, because Jeff Goldblum is hilarious.
Jeff Goldblum, and then
the director, Taika Waititi's character, the rock guy.
Oh yeah,
Krog,
or whatever. Krog.
He's funny.
Is it Krog? Michael, I'm sorry.
I like that we. You got Chris Hemsworth, and you basically have. You don't have three other no-name actors, or is
there's
it four?
Five. There's five.
So
in the cabin.
It's not like there's the one kid. The one guy was on Grey's Anatomy, and then you got a girl who the only other thing I've seen her in is The Happening, and she's in The Happening for 1 minute. She's in the first scene of The Happening, and her friend stabs herself in the neck with something.
Oh my God, that is the same person, isn't it?
She's not the one who stabs herself.
No, I'm saying
that's the only thing I've seen her, and she's the main character in this movie. And the other girl was in 47 Meters Down. She's a British actor.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of, go check out 47 Meters Down.
And the stoner, I don't know what he's been in.
Apparently
he was in one of Joss Whedon's shows from earlier on, because Joss Whedon had a few shows. But you have a bunch of guys a bunch of actors that you don't really know, and they nail it. And it's not even like
have known who Chris Hemsworth was if that movie would have come out.
It's not even like Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford are like household names.
No, but
we know them. We know them, but they're not enough to sell a movie. The movie did decent because
it made $66.5
What was its budget?
I want to say 20.
So it didn't do that great.
But it almost reached the cult status.
It immediately reached the cult status.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were a horror fan, this was the movie that you've been waiting for your whole life.
Yeah. To me, it felt like sort of like how and I've used this thing before, this sort of phrasing, but it's like the Beatles with The Benefit of Mr. Kite. It showed that. No, hold on. The Beatles wrote songs about how it didn't have to be about girls and love and stuff. They wrote about a circus. Mm-hmm. Cabin in the Woods didn't do your typical slasher, boogeyman type film. Yeah. They made an original story that probably hasn't been done like that since. Can you name
Scream?
Saw, maybe.
Nah, not really. When it comes to having a commentary on actual horror films, Scream.
I'm just saying original. Like a real original.
Yeah, Saw was pretty original. Yeah. But Cabin in the Woods, I think, surpasses Scream in terms of that. In terms of the meta-ness of
and having value.
Yeah, very good.
I think Cabin in the Woods, because Cabin in the Woods with the little small comedic elements that Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford had.
Yeah.
Pull you back into the movie to want to watch it again.
Yeah, it's a very entertaining movie.
And the fact, I can't say it because that'll just spoil it.
Yeah.
The whiteboard. Whiteboard.
That's great.
Thing is hilarious.
The betting
system.
The betting stuff.
And I know we've lost so many people with the betting system. What are you talking about?
I'm sure.
Just watch it.
I'm sure people who watch this have seen Cabin in the Woods.
Well, I would certainly hope so.
But if you haven't, we're trying not to spoil too much.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil this movie because it's one of those.
Even though it's been out for 6 years.
It's our number one for a reason. That's.
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it. We want people to see it. Sort of like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Go watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's not a horror movie.
I don't care.
Cabin in the Woods can still be considered a horror movie, I think, because it inhabits so much horror.
Sorry. Tucker does as well.
I'll give you whatever.
You're going to, because I'll fight you tooth and nail on that.
Okay, so that's all we can really talk about in terms of Cabin in the Woods and of this list.
I'm kind of upset that we didn't have more variety on our...
It's not my fault, Josh. It's not my fault that you're boring.
I'm boring, but yet you picked the same film.
I had Raw.
Oh, I had Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I had
so
a French.
You can go screw yourself.
I had a French art house film.
So
I would have. It would have been nice to have a couple different movies. But when the movies are good, they're good.
By the way, Cabin in the Woods has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just
pretty good, but it has a 72 on Metacritic.
It has 72 on Metacritic. Cinema scores a C, which is just
the best reviewed.
Blasphemy.
I think the best reviewed movie out of all these that we had was The Witch. Out of these top 5, I didn't have Get Out in mind, but Get Out's technically the best reviewed out of these.
Get
movies.
Out has 99, 84, A-.
Okay, it has the best.
Yeah,
I think The Witch has like an 82.
Witch has 91, 83, and a C-.
83. Because I know Raw had like an 81 and a 90.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm still kind of shocked that Don't Breathe has such a low cinema score.
It's a B+.
Metacritic score.
Was it 71?
71. That just feels low.
Yeah, it's not an artful film. It's just a really good, exciting horror film. And I think in order to get boosted up to like the 80 territory, it almost has to be an art film.
Wait, sort of like It Follows.
It follows and it comes at night. And
I think I've been a little too hard on It Follows.
Probably,
I need to go back.
You should probably need to watch it again. It's good.
It was in a bad place at the time when that movie came out, but
it's a good mood piece.
A good mood piece?
It's mood. It's a moody one.
It's a sex piece.
It's really not, like, plot-wise, it's not a lot, but mood-wise, it's like,
I think it was the pool scene. It just took me out of the movie.
It's not great, but what I always come back to is that it's a bunch of kids trying to defeat a monster, and this is their dumb idea. And even the director came out and said that. I'd like to see that director do another movie. He hasn't done one yet. So, but that wraps up our top 5.
Yep.
Very uneventful top 5, but a meaningful top 5. When the movies are good, they're going to get put in the top 5. And we have similar tastes in terms of these movies, apparently.
I think me and you both can sit and be subjective on the horror films that we've seen over the past, 10 years or 8 years, because. We were talking, we both collectively have seen close to 75 different horror films between the two of us.
Probably, if that, maybe more.
Maybe more. I mean, because there's a lot of films that we didn't even talk about. Like, I would tell people, you know what? If you don't have a lot of time on your hands, go watch ABC's Death.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Go watch VHS.
2, definitely.
Go watch VHS 1, 2, and 3.
Maybe not 3.
I'd watch 3.
Yeah, it's got like one good. It's got like one good thing.
It's got like one, but I'd still watch it.
Yeah, might as well.
I mean,
I'm very easy on horror movies, except for if they're just
bad.
If they're just bad,
go watch Wish Upon. I'm serious.
Wish Upon's worth the watch.
Wish Upon is the room of horror films.
It's the good kind of bad.
It's the room of horror films.
Yeah, but then you got bad stuff like Annabelle, and I even think Annabelle 2 isn't that good, even though it got way better reviews. I'm like, that don't mean anything to me. Like, it's still like a jump scare a minute, and it's a haunted house movie.
I don't even. There's
only one franchise that has perfected the art of the jump scare, and that is The Conjuring.
You know what movie that me and you had so much hype for, and then it just disappointed us so much?
It was Blair Witch.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
That's what he's going to say.
Actually, it wasn't. But my mind always goes back to this movie because we were so pumped. A movie called Sinister.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I didn't love that one.
I didn't know. Neither of us did.
It had some good bits in it. It wasn't awful. It was just mediocre.
It was the stupid jump scare in the attic that took me out of the movie. Because that's the only jump scare in the whole film.
When did that happen?
You know when he goes up in the attic and the film is playing on the screen and then the thing jumps at the screen and he falls backwards?
You remind me of
Yeah.
Remind me of the jump scare in Wreck and Quarantine.
I'm just like, and they made a sequel to that, by the way.
I heard that was awful.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it.
Didn't either.
That's got that Last Exorcism 2 disease.
Oh my God. Like so just for further reference, the beginning shot of The Last Exorcism, Part 2, is the actual filming camera.
Yeah.
Zooms out of the handheld camera, goes up into the trees, flies over the trees, and into the city.
That's some Tommy Wiseau type
Holy
stuff.
shit. I knew what I was in for when I started the movie, but I kept going. Yeah. And it hurt my soul after watching the first film. It hurt me. Like, I felt dead inside. I felt like I needed an exorcism after that movie.
I'm glad I didn't watch it. I try to avoid bad movies, but...
you know me, though. If I watch one, I got to see the next chapter. That's why I haven't went and watched Insidious Chapter 4 yet.
I'm not going to.
I'm probably not.
I heard it's,
I'll just wait for
I heard it's bad. I heard it's bad. But
which sucks, because 3 is pretty good.
I thought 3 had some of the best stuff out of the whole series, considering that I thought 2 was bad.
Well, seeing, you know, and the thing of 3 is 3 has a jump scare in it. And it's the car crash.
Yeah.
But God, does it work, because you don't see it coming.
I knew it was coming, it still affected me. I was like, oh my gosh, what was that?
That's the thing, I did not expect that.
Well, I knew that it happened, I just didn't know when it happened.
I didn't, so...
But now that I mentioned that I don't like seeing bad movies. I don't like just crapping on movies. But
here we go.
We're going through a new theme this year, so since we're doing this show, we're going to put ourselves out there and
we're going to go watch anything that we can.
I'd say starting next week, because we were going to start this week with Winchester, but like I said, we said weather and other obligations. We couldn't make the movie, and I heard that it's nothing special anyway. But starting next week, like, we're going to try and watch a movie every week, at least one movie, and if that means that 3 bad movies come out that week, we're going to watch one of those bad movies, and we're going to review it.
And depending on what we do, we might watch 2.
Maybe, yeah.
We might get you an episode on a Saturday and watch 2 movies and do a back-to-back review.
We got one coming next week that I'm very excited about.
Oh god!
And we're gonna tape the audio immediately after watching it, and I think Josh's Jeep get an immediate reaction.
Please don't.
Can I say what it is that we're watching?
I don't want to go.
So we're stepping into this franchise. We're gonna get
with both feet.
We're gonna get
with both feet. We're gonna get chains and whips.
We're gonna get some looks thrown at us when we go to that movie. This has happened to me before.
But here's the thing.
I went and watched Magic Mike.
But here's our out though. Here's our out for that movie. 1, we don't care what people say.
Yeah, I do not care.
And 2, all we have to say is, we do a movie review podcast now. So
So we're stepping into the 50 Shades franchise next week. I haven't seen any of the other 2, but I have a good understanding of what happens, and
nothing.
And I need to see
nothing.
I need to see this third one to see how this specific thing pans out. I just hope it doesn't let me down on its goofiness. Like, I just hope that I laugh a lot, and people are like, "What are they laughing about? This is so sexy."
Mrs. Gray will see you now.
But that's what we're doing, and
it's gonna be sexy. What if we come out loving this movie? What happens?
There's no.
What happens? Do we go back and watch the other 2?
What if it reaches that point of campy where it becomes critic proof and it gets good reviews?
Oh my god,
that'd be awesome.
So much possible. What if it reaches like room status?
Because that happened so bad. Because that happened to Twilight. Like, I think on the 3rd or 4th one where it got decent reviews.
Yeah, because they're like 70 or 75 or something like that.
Clearly this movie's goofy.
Do you know what caused that though?
It didn't get like a 70. It got like a 55.
But do you know who honestly? Oh god, what's his name? He played in Frost Nixon. The main guy, Michael Sheen.
Yeah, he was in those last 2.
That's what got that movie good reviews. Because if you've watched him act in that movie, good lord, it's bad, so bad that it's amazing. So there's like a video on YouTube where it's like top 10 overacted films.
Yeah.
He's like 3 of the things. And it's all one Twilight.
So needless to say, I'm very excited about 50 Shades Freed.
I'm not.
But you should be, Josh. If you knew the things that I knew, you'd be excited.
But I don't, because I don't care.
I suggest a couple,
I'm going in it with an open mind.
I suggest a couple things. A quick shout out to my favorite YouTube channel called Double Toasted.
Toasted, we love you.
They did a review on 50 Shades Darker. Don't even look at the review for the first. Watch the review for 50 Shades Darker, and I think they spoil a lot, and for good reasons. I
would say.
And I suggest you watch that video. I think it'll get you up to speed.
Let's hope.
I think it'll enhance your experience, because I'm looking forward to it. And whatever the movies are in the coming weeks, I think Black Panther's the next week. So I'm very excited for that.
I still think we need to do our top 5 favorite Marvel films to set up for Black Panther.
We'll do that week. Yeah,
I think we should.
We'll do it that week.
I think we should, along with the review of Black Panther.
So yeah. We'll have another show. We'll have 2 shows.
Maybe we get Boss on for that one.
Maybe. We'll have 2 shows.
We might tape that at the Hot Cup. What do you think?
Maybe.
I'm sure we could do it.
We could. We'll have 2 shows next week with the 50 Shades Freed review. But the day before that, I think the day before that, we're going to do a review. We're going to do a special show for our top 5 romance movies of the decade.
Strap your big boy pants on and your big girl pants on.
50 Shades is just so romantic.
So romantic. Abusive relationships
with no chemistry between the two characters.
Maybe the Joker and Harley Quinn will make a romance type movie.
They almost did it with Suicide Squad, but they screwed the pooch.
Maybe they'll do it in the Harley Quinn movie. Let's just hope Jared Leto's not in it.
Let's hope not. Him mailing dead rats to people on set or whatever.
Use condoms and stuff.
I was being a actor like Daniel Day-Lewis. That's my Jared. Even though I sound more like them.
That was bad.
He was bad.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It takes one bad actor to know another bad actor. Even though he's a great actor.
He was a great actor.
He was a bad actor in that movie. Bad Joker.
He's not
bad ape.
Bad actor.
But that'll. I think we've spent enough time on this. We've had
fun though with this one.
Yeah, this was a good one. Even though our top 5 was very similar. But if the movies are good, they're good.
Go watch Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. It's still a horror movie.
Go watch it because it's fun.
It is. It's fun, campy.
But that's going to wrap up our show. Any final final words, Josh?
So I'm clear here. Romantic movies. 50 Shades Freed next week.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yes.
Then Marvel and Black Panther after that. That's what's coming up.
Yeah.
All right. So 4 shows coming soon.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. I can't wait for the week after next.
I'm almost more.
My romantic movies are just going to be completely stupid because I don't watch many of them.
Mine are good.
Well, I might have to come to you just a little bit to be like, hey, what romantic movies have we seen?
You should know.
I don't though. I don't watch me.
We've seen a few romantic comedies.
Okay, so Big Sick is going to be number 1. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now.
It's not number 1 on mine.
It might be on mine.
You're forgetting a very,
that's
very.
the only one that comes to mind.
You're forgetting a very, very. Without mentioning names, you're forgetting a very, very elaborate movie that came out last year that won a bunch of awards, and it's considered a romance. It has songs in it. It's a musical.
Well,
because that's a romance.
I know.
Because you should know what it is.
Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester by the Sea is an amazing romance.
That might make my top 5.
But the one I just mentioned is clearly on my top 5. But yeah,
I know.
We got some fun shows coming up, and eventually we are going to update to video.
Yeah, we're going to get video soon.
Maybe for Black Panther. Maybe for that Black Panther review, we might get
do that.
Because I think that'll be a big review.
Marvel Hall.
Oh yeah, we could do that for the MCU one.
I think we should.
We could do that.
Okay,
that's a good idea.
So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Yet again, this is Modern Masterpieces. Please subscribe. Leave your comments below if you probably did not agree with our list, but if you did, let us know. If you didn't,
hey, give us your top 5 of your favorite horror films of the past.
Don't degrade it. Don't degrade Josh for having Tucker and Dale.
Don't degrade Caleb for having a movie that none of you have seen in Raw.
Raw is picking up a lot of steam.
It made give a crap.
It made $3.5 million in the box office, and it cost $4 million.
Tucker and Dale.
Hey,
5 million, 4.6.
Reaching that
We're on par here.
But just let us know in the comment section below. Please subscribe and thank you for listening.
Bye, everyone.